Hello, and welcome to another edition of Fresh, Fast, and Easy, the show where we look at seafood buying and eating, enjoying, and look at the social as well as the culinary implications of that fish. And today, we have some guests with us. We have our friend Bonnie, our lovely wife Susan, and good friend Bob, and they're going to join us for our culinary trip. I'm going to start today with just a little appetizer to show you how easy tuna can be. Okay? Oh, I didn't tell you. Our fish today is tuna. We're going to be talking about tuna. And hopefully all the ins and outs will be able to answer the questions you may have with tuna. So we're going to start with a dish called poke. Famous in Hawaii, eaten quite often. It's a simple raw dish, a raw tuna preparation. And the reason we like this is we eat this during the summer. When you get the tuna nice and cold, you have yourself a wonderful, nice, cold white wine, and it's easy snacking, light eating. It's perfect. So, to start with this dish, we're going to start with chunks of tuna that I've cut into about half-inch pieces, and it's very simple. I'm going to add some salt.
Are we using a special kind of tuna, Mike?
Oh, we are using right now a nice Bigeye tuna. And we'll talk about this in a while, why Bigeye, but it's got a lot of flavor. I guess we'll talk about it now then, huh?
Yeah, Mike, why does it have big eyes? Why does it have big eyes?
It does have big eyes. And you know what? There's also another tuna called small eye. You never guess why. And one called yellowfin. But the Bigeye tuna is in Hawaii where they do poke, and very many variations of poke with sauces and everything. The Bigeye is great because it's very prominent in Hawaii, very fatty and a lot of flavor. So I added about a tablespoon of soy sauce. Now I'm going to add some sesame oil, probably about 2 tablespoons in there. Some green onions. And, you know, there's no real exact amounts. And
toasted sesame seeds. Make sure you toast them, bring out the flavor.
And that's it. Simply mix it up. Really cold. Look at that color. Isn't that color great?
Yeah, beautiful.
All right. And this will be our appetizer. Put it in this nice bowl.
Really good.
It does smell good, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Even, you know, that toasted sesame oil.
Yeah.
And, of course, we have our Hawaiian bowl to put it in.
Yeah, beautiful.
Actually, just came from Papua New Guinea. My dad was traveling there.
Almost Hawaii.
There you go. So we can...
So dig in and enjoy, and I'll do a little conversation here about tuna. Why tuna? For many years, tuna has been the #1 product that we've been eating, fish item we've been eating in the United States. And this will pertain to what we were talking about earlier. It wasn't until the mid-'70s that we actually started eating tuna as a populace in the United States, raw or slightly seared or cooked. Usually we were eating canned tuna. And then in the mid-'70s, we discovered how great it was to eat when you cook it, and it took off. So we're starting here with the Bigeye tuna, which is one of the prominent tunas. The other main tuna you'll find in the United States is yellowfin, which is found only in tropical waters, more temperate conditions. The Bigeye and the yellowfin run together, hang together, swim together. The Bigeye, though, will go deep. And they will swim deep underneath the thermocline where there's a lot of nutrients, and so they have a higher fat content. The yellowfin tuna stays above the thermocline. The thermocline, I think we've talked about before, is the area where the water below, everything above the thermocline is warmer water, and everything below is a set, very cold temperature. And it stabilizes throughout the oceans. Underneath the thermocline is where all the nutrients are. And so something like a Bigeye goes under this thermocline to colder waters and eats a lot more nutrient fish, eating sardines, mackerels, squids, octopus, whatever it can find.
So, Mike, does that mean that the fish that tends to go down there is a little more tender because it has a more fat content, more desirable?
It's exactly it. You're looking at, it's got a bigger fat content. You take a yellowfin, which doesn't have the same fat content, although you will see it on most menus. It's a great eating tuna. And also our albacore here. Let me grab this albacore really quick here. This is an albacore caught off our local waters. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, eyes are nice and clear.
They are. Now, this is an albacore. This stays above the thermocline also. So it's a leaner tuna, not as fatty as, say, a bigeye or a bluefin. But I also want to talk about the structure of tunas. If I can grab you in here, DDA, to talk about it. Tunas are incredibly aerodynamic. Water dynamic? Oh, well. You get the idea.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
They've actually used tunas in studying the patterns of movement of air over planes because they are so well designed. First of all, well, it's their tubular shape. All tunas have this tubular shape. Some are a little bit more football rounded, but generally this is their shape. They have a tail that's pretty thin, but very strong.
Is that where they get fish tail from? Right?
This is where they get fish fin.
Okay.
Fish fins from.
Okay.
Eyes are almost perfectly flush with the face, so there's no current developing on the sides. Okay? Cool. Here's where I love the tunas, this little tricky part here. See the fin? Here, this is a pectoral fin. It fits nicely in a slot right there.
Wow,
see the slot?
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, it fits when it's going for speed. Now, tunas are huge swimmers. And this is when they're going for speed, they tuck that fin in there, making them even more aerodynamic. There's one more little tricky thing here. All tunas have these. This is the dorsal fin, right? We all know the dorsal fin. Okay. The dorsal fin, when it goes down and the fish is swimming, there's a slot. It actually slides flush to the flesh, flush to the flesh. So again, the water comes right over it, aerodynamically wonderful. Okay, so there's your albacore. Now, the cool thing about tuna, they are the only warm-blooded fish in the oceans. Cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Now,
A whale is a mammal, but it's
correct.
not warm-blooded.
It is, but it's a mammal, not a fish.
Oh.
There you
All
go.
right.
And that's the big separation. By warm-blooded, what that means is the tuna has to keep a constant temperature. All other fish, they adapt to the temperature of the ocean and the waters.
Yeah.
The tuna, it has to eat a ton of food in order to keep its temperature consistent, which is why it has that wonderful red color, too. It has incredible blood flow. Okay.
Mike,
So,
does that mean that you're going to find tuna in like some of the warmer waters?
very good. Exactly. Temperate waters, equator, everything like that, you will find tuna's in just about every ocean, but much more prominent in the warmer waters. Okay? They like that set temperature. The fattier tunas, like the bluefin and the bigeye, like we talked about before, they will go deeper and further south and further north, but generally temperate waters is what they prefer. And they're huge swimmers. They don't stop swimming. They have to swim forever. There's no resting. If you're a tuna, you're swimming. And you're eating. And that's how, basically, it keeps itself going. Okay? How's the poke, guys?
Okay, it's awesome.
Delicious.
It's awesome. Hey, Mike, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So when I was a kid growing up, we ate tuna sandwich for lunch every day. And it was basically the stuff that Charlie sent you to get. I was just kind of wondering, what's the difference between this tuna and the stuff that Charlie sent me?
Well, this is funny. In studying for this show, I read a lot about the history of tuna. And, you know, I've known a lot of what's happening since the 80s when I got in the business, but what happened before? We ate only canned tuna, and we ate tons of it. I mean, it was our favorite food, and, you know, we all had our tuna fish sandwiches, our tuna casseroles, and everything like that.
I did not.
Most of us did. Sorry, dear. But, yeah, we had that, and it was generally an albacore tuna, which was considered a throwaway tuna. And it really isn't until the last like 10 or 15 years that we've understood how great this fish is. Albacore, for being a small tuna, has a great fat content.
Speaking of size, how old would this be? Or is this an adult and that's the size they get? Or?
Great question. This is about a 15 to 18 pound albacore, and it's probably about 3 years old. They become sexually mature about 1.5 to 2 years. This is important because this is over here we have another bigeye tuna, which is very closely, as I said before, to the yellowfin. The yellowfin tuna which you get those fish up to 200 pounds. They're sexually mature after about 40, 45 pounds.
Oh.
So for years in the 80s, I'd watch all people selling these small yellowfin tunas, and knowing that they're sexually immature, this doesn't make sense, people. You can't do that. You have to sell full-size tunas. So it is important. Now, albacore tuna is probably our best seafood resource on the West Coast as far as sustainability, other than crab. There's plenty of them. We only hook and line them. There's no net caught or anything like that.
That was going to be one of my questions about dolphins, because
let's talk about it.
Problem, but not anymore.
It was. Do you remember dolphin safe tuna and all that?
Yeah.
It's still out there. We still have dolphin safe tuna, and what that arises from, and when this all came out in the late 80s, beginning of the 90s about the catching of dolphins, there was a lot of misinformation. In essence, what happens is tuna's school. Okay, and people would surround them with the nets and kind of tighten off the net, and the tunas would get trapped in there. They also swim with dolphins. Okay, and so dolphins were caught in that, and so it pretty much killed our domestic tuna fishery in the early 90s.
Okay.
Because people didn't want to hurt the dolphins. There's a problem. All that tuna in the nets goes to canned tuna, not fresh tuna.
Oh.
So that's not what you're eating at a restaurant. Because when it gets in a net, it gets crushed.
Oh.
So the flesh gets bruised and destroyed.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not what you're getting at a restaurant.
Still good though.
It's very good. Very good. Canned tuna is great. But and now they do it in water, in natural oils. But
Mike, excuse me, but back then, I don't remember tuna being in restaurants that much.
No.
I mean, and now it used to be the only tuna you got was in your sandwich.
Right. Because people didn't. Basically, it was a cannery, and that was it. And then we started using different methods of catching, hook and line, long lines as opposed to netting, and discovering what a great fish it is. So, but that's where the dolphin safe comes in. In essence, if you're eating a tuna like this one over here, this whole piece of tuna or a tuna steak, you're not getting a dolphin tuna. It's dolphin safe, just because method of catch.
But canned tuna is still netted?
Canned tuna is still netted, but they really, really have a lot better methods now of doing it, where they really do protect. It used to be tens of thousands of dolphins were killed, and now I think it's less than like 500 a year. Still a bit, but much better.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, very much so. So, but that's the story on the dolphin safe. We're talking about tuna, and I'm going to grab this piece over here, guys.
Okay.
Sorry. Now.
Wow, how many pounds is that? It's like 25 pounds.
Well, this is about a 10-pound piece. So
really?
it came off of a fish that was about 80 pounds or so.
That was your turkey at Thanksgiving.
It looks like prime rib.
It does, which will bring us to our bluefin in a little while. Now, this tuna, what I'm bringing this for is to show you how to shop for tuna.
Okay.
Because that's always a question. You know, what am I looking for when I'm buying? And again, we'll talk about the social issues in a minute, but the culinary thing. What you're looking for, we talked about this, the blood. This red bloodline here, you can see it's got a kind of a funny shape. It runs all along the side of all four sides of tuna. Red, 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 not black. Not black.
That's good.
Red. Always look for red.
Fresh.
Correct. Then you know it's fresh. And it's fresh. Remember, it's hemoglobin in it. Okay? So you want it to be red. And you want your meat to be red. Okay? If you see brown spots on it, you want to stay away. But the funny part is, why the brown? Where does the brown come from?
Fried blood?
It comes from a fish cooking itself.
Oh.
Now, this is really cool. Well, not for the fish.
Yeah.
The tuna, when it's caught and hooked, will fight. And when it fights, we talk about constant temperature. When it fights, it heats up internally, builds up lactic acid, and burns itself, in essence. Okay? So it will change the color of red to brown and even gray as the more it fights its fish. So that's why you're looking for the red. You want a fish that hasn't gone through the fight. Another thing that you're looking for is the firmness of it. You want a tuna that stands, okay? Not as all soft and floppy, but something that stands. And finally, smell. It's somewhat meaty, because it's a lot of blood, but still very fresh.
It's not super fishy.
No.
You know, I mean, it really smells.
Should
It
you ask
smells like you want to eat it.
Should you ask to touch it when you're
Yes.
buying it?
Yeah.
You know it's not squishy or?
Right. It's
what
not
do you do
squishy and
about
not
that?
tacky.
Yeah.
You know, use one trigger and your
No,
fishmonger.
they don't mind.
No.
They shouldn't mind, absolutely.
That's
Okay, if they mind,
Then
going
that's
somewhere
right.
else.
You should be smelling and touching your fish when you buy
Okay,
it.
yeah,
Okay? So put a glove on.
okay,
Make
yeah.
sure that is good. So, but that's what you're looking for when you're buying the tuna. You're looking for something like this, okay? And also a big, thanks, Jerry. Also a bigger fish. You don't want the smaller fish when you're buying them. You want them to have been sexually mature when they were caught. I mean, everybody does that, right? Absolutely. Including the fish. Okay.
You're in your mind.
That's sustainable,
Thank
you know? It's all about sustainability.
That fish I just showed you, though, it is a great, that is what we would call in the United States a sashimi grade fish. Okay, a #1 tuna. You saw that brilliant red and everything like that? I'm going to show you a real #1 tuna. Excuse me.
Mike, you talked about sashimi.
Yeah.
I can't say it, but you talked about it, and I was
Yeah.
wondering about sushi and sashimi, and whether or not, you know, has tuna like changed the way that all comes about. I noticed that tuna is a big part of sashimi and that whole.
Well, tuna has taken off in the Japanese diet. They're probably the largest consumers now of tuna. It wasn't always that way. In the, the pre-50, pre-60s, they ate white-fleshed fish. Leaner, less expensive, fish without a lot of flavor. And then they started eating the tunas and discovered that these bigger fish, now the tuna, I did not bring this up, is in the mackerel family.
Oh.
So it's got a lot of oils, it's got a lot of good fats, a lot of omegas.
There you go, high in omega-3.
High in omega-3.
Holy mackerel.
Healthy.
Oh, no.
Good for the heart, good for the brain.
But, so, as they were eating it, there's the health implications of eating it, there's the flavor implications of eating it, but I showed you that one piece of tuna. Now, I want you to, let's see, Susan, can you grab that plate back?
The one I just put there.
Yeah, just the whole plate. I'm going to show you the difference. Now, that is a beautiful piece of tuna, and we in the U.S. like a nice red piece of tuna. Fat in all foods is flavor, and fat is white, any way you look at it. Okay, so if you look at this beautiful red, right, that's pretty, but look at the white. If you look closely, you could see the veins of fat.
Marbling.
Bingo.
Oh, wow.
Bingo. Just, it's absolutely marbled all the way throughout this fish.
Yeah.
And that's nothing but flavor. You know, this fish here, this bluefin, which we will address the bluefin story in a minute. This bluefin probably came in at about 300 pounds.
Oh.
Okay, kind of small for a bluefin, actually, for an Atlantic bluefin. But it's got a great fat content in it. And in the Japanese markets, this would rate very, very high. Unfortunately, if I was to send this to a chef or that to a chef here, most chefs would prefer that because of the red color. Okay, but remember, fat is flavor. This is where your fat is.
But you need a knowledgeable consumer because I'm thinking they can sell more of this.
Correct.
For the price.
Correct.
You know.
Yes. Well,
so
as we're talking about this is about a 9-pound chunk of bluefin with the toro, with the belly.
That's the belly.
This is the belly right here. Bellies. Bellies contain fat, and that's where the most flavor is. And the toro for the Japanese ranks the highest price. This piece of fish here, in a market, would go for about $70 a pound. Yeah. So,
in a restaurant.
I don't even go there.
Don't even go there, yeah.
But again, you're not eating an 8-ounce steak. You're eating little 1-ounce pieces of sashimi.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
Absolutely.
But now, this is...
So that, you said that was bluefin?
Bluefin.
Is bluefin readily available? I've heard it was maybe endangered.
Yes. Good job. That bluefin tuna is as close as we have in all of our fisheries throughout the world as being endangered than anything else. There are a lot of fish that have already entered an endangered category, but the giant bluefin is right on the edge. And there's a couple of issues with that. First, let me talk about the history of bluefin. Okay, this is the grand dame. This is the creme de la creme. This is really, when you're talking to tuna, this is really it. They run 800, 900,000 pound fish. Wow. They are huge. They start their life in South America on the East Coast. Okay, they travel all the way up to the United States to Canada, eating and eating and eating. And remember, they go below thermocline. So they are eating a lot of food. They go all the way up to Nova Scotia, turn around, jet all the way across the Atlantic into the Mediterranean. Now, all throughout history, we have records of Europeans eating bluefin tuna that they caught in traps that have entered the Mediterranean. It has been a food source for a long time. But that's a heck of a trip, okay? In this time, they go from a very lean 20, 30-pound fish to up to 1,000-pound fish.
And that's their life?
That's their life. Yep.
And never come back.
Well, after that, I'm not sure. You know, they migrated down to Africa, et cetera.
Is that a seasonal thing? Is it like a migration that's seasonal? Yeah. According to the water temperature?
Well, they follow the bait, the food, and they keep following the food as they travel. But
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, the question I had was, I know that there's a lot of tuna in the Hawaii area. Do they migrate through Hawaii? Is that how that works?
No. Now, on the Pacific, we have what's called the Pacific bluefin. And they are nowhere, they're about the size of an albacore. They probably get twice that size. They're nowhere near as endangered. In fact, they're a very solid stock, but they don't get as big.
Are they as fatty?
They are nowhere near as fatty as this fish.
They're not the quality.
No. But the story on this fish, and you'll like this. Okay, way back in the, up to about 83, 84, they used to catch these bluefin on the East Coast. They still do. Where our main fishery is in the United States, up in Massachusetts, etc. They would catch these fish. They'd have tournaments. Everybody go out fishing. They have these great tournaments. All right? They'd come in, and they'd hold up their fish, and they'd weigh them and everything, and they'd decide the winner, and he'd get a trophy about that big. And at the end, they'd take all the fish, run it to the end of the pier where they made cat food.
Oh, no.
And they sold it for cat food for about a penny a pound. Most guys didn't even pick up their penny a pound.
Hey, I love cats, but...
Yeah.
Hey, if you're getting, those are good cats.
Yeah.
Go ahead, check this out. Yeah, okay, we'll start. I'm going to finish this, and then we'll jump into it.
I just want to make sure we had something to eat.
So, in the late 70s, there was a Korean guy who comes over, and he sees this incredible fish going for cat food. Brilliant man. He buys them for $1 a pound. The fattiest fish. Boxes them up, sends them to Japan, where he's making a fortune. This is in the 70s and early 80s. Guess what his name was? You'll never
Toyota.
Oh, this is
Sun Young Moon.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Oh,
the Moonies.
The Moonies.
That's how he funded his church.
And they're still in the fish
and they
business,
still
right?
are very prominent in the seafood business.
He knows how to market.
He does know how to market. He knows how to see an opportunity. And he realized the gold of this fish. But here's another thing to think about. Within 15 to 20 years, we have decimated that population. Okay? And that's how, if we really focus on a fishery and put enough money on it, you can fish it out.
Okay.
So, but that's a great bluefin tuna story. So here's a little quick social issue with the bluefin. Every year they have a meeting of the Tuna Council. I can't remember.
The Tuna Council,
but it's got a T in there somewhere. Okay. And they try to decide quotas that people can catch. Because now you don't have one nation. You've got South America, everybody between South America and Canada, and everybody in Europe fighting over their quotas. I want some, I want some, I want some. Okay? So they determine an amount that they're going to allow for sustainability for the fish to continue and yet people to have some. So every year they come through and they say you can have X amount. The fishermen ask for X amount, and the actual governing bodies end up granting them more, and the fishermen, of course, catch more.
Oh,
so it's a silly cycle of driving them into extinction. So bluefin tuna, it is heavily regulated and heavily monitored, and yet we're still fighting on what is sustainable.
But if you want a quick dinner,
yes.
You can do seared ahi tuna.
Very good.
Right?
Now, is that the best way to order tuna in a, I mean, I never see it anything but just singed on the outside.
Right.
Are there other ways that they're serving it in restaurants that I'm not aware of?
There are a lot of ways. Something like an albacore tuna, you'll often see them cook it and then cool it down in olive oil. So it soaks up the olive oil, picking up that flavor. Tuna, because of its fat and oil, is best not to cook all the way through. You want to leave it a little raw in the middle so you don't dry it out.
Yeah.
Mike, I wondered about that because I noticed I know a lot of fish in restaurants are cooked a lot more.
Right.
And then tuna is always the one that's rare,
right,
or, barely cooked up, seared, whatever it is.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because of its fat content, because of its oil content. And, if you overcook it, it really becomes that dry.
But I don't want you guys to be confused. Mike saying fat content. A 5-ounce serving of tuna only has like 160 calories and 2 grams of fat.
It's good fat, too.
It's good.
It's the kind of fat you want. You need fat.
Right, and 35 grams of protein. So it is totally good for you. What Mike's doing now, we often do at home with sesame seeds, but we already put that in the poke, so we're just doing salt and pepper.
Grind the sesame seeds?
No, when we do it at home, we just put it right on it.
Put them on like that?
Yeah.
But we also have a nice, you can use fresh herbs. We have thyme here we're going to put on there. And Mike getting the pan hot?
Yep.
He is? Okay, good.
So basically, it goes back to what the show's about is easy. You know, how can I buy it at a store and feel comfortable? Well, now you know, okay? And now how can I make it nice, simple, and easy? And my rule is really simple, almost always, don't do much to it. Let it go.
Right, if you're buying high-quality seafood, like you can at Osprey Market in downtown Napa, you don't have to do a lot to it. That's the idea.
Right, let the flavor shine through. So I put some olive oil in the pan. I got this pan on full. I mean, we're going high here. Look at the oils, okay?
So we also zested a lime.
Oh, I'm going to put that on one of them.
Lime and the thyme mixture.
Why don't you throw that on that one here? Put your lime and thyme.
Fresh, thyme and lime. There we go. Okay. I didn't quite do enough, but there we go. Let me do a little more. Wait, let me do a little more.
That's good.
Is that good?
Yeah.
There we go.
And basically, we're just going to sear it for a couple minutes, and we have another part of a wonderful meal.
All good already.
Yeah, nice. So that takes our, tuna has been on it's on everybody's list, on all those watch lists and stuff on whether we should eat tuna or not. Each one has its story, and they're all great stories, and each has its great fishery. We know bluefin. Really, let's let it sit.
Okay.
There's only a certain amount caught every year.
Mike was an educator, so we can't eat it.
Yeah.
We're talking about mercury levels, Mike.
Mercury levels. Very good. That was another issue with tuna, was what's up with mercury?
Yeah.
Well, mercury is a non-issue, period. It is a non-issue.
That would be an exclamation point.
Also, all fish have selenium. Okay? Well, selenium gets into the body, counteracts mercury inside your body, making it pretty much inert. Now, we are saying, as a whole, children shouldn't eat too much of it, and pregnant women shouldn't eat too much of it. That's precautionary, and follow that. Okay, I'm going to flip this over, because really, we're just going for a little...
2-3 minutes?
Not even.
Okay.
Minute and a half. In the world, there are 3 recorded cases of mercury poison that they can attribute to fish. In the history of the world. One of them in Japan, where they took pure mercury and dumped it in the bay. The fish ate the mercury, and people ate the fish and got sick. Norway, exact same thing. Well, then we figured out that's probably not a good thing to do. Don't dump pure mercury in the water. Okay?
Yeah.
The third one is an actual individual case. The woman from the Seychelles Islands, she ate swordfish, which is also has a higher level of mercury. She ate swordfish, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 years in a row.
Oh, perhaps she's very good fishmonger.
Perhaps. Or maybe she was spinning the gene pool. Don't eat that way, people. Eat a balanced diet. She got mercury poisoning. They took her off of swordfish. She got better. And the first thing she did was go back to eating it 3 times a day and got mercury poisoning again. Those are really your only 3 recorded cases of mercury poison attributed to fish.
Now, our home is in Almaden, part of San Jose, near the Quicksilver Mine.
Oh, right.
Which they, we have a creek near us that is considered a toxic. Actually, we're toxic. Oh, sorry.
Not good.
But they won't let you fish in that creek. Oh, but that's, of course, inland.
Right.
But,
and that's a whole different, that
would be interesting.
The theory behind mercury is interesting and is you get it from bigger fish that feed on littler fish. So a little fish eats a little, gets it, because it's naturally occurring.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little fish has a little in it, and then a bigger fish eats it, it gets a little bit more, and a bigger fish, and a bigger fish, and bigger. So you get to people like tuna, or fish like tunas, they supposedly will have a lot of mercury. It makes logical sense, but there's counteractions in it. So really, the fear of mercury is not a fear.
We're going to let that go.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so now we're gonna slice the tuna here.
This is the one with the thyme and lime, and we would, of course, put it on both sides, but we forgot.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, so
just
again,
sear the outside,
just
Mike.
sear the outside. So once you try a piece, you'll find that the inside is cool and the outside is warm.
I think some people are afraid of that. You know, Mike, I think, they go to a restaurant and they don't feel comfortable with that. I personally get excited by that. I think it sounds so good. It looks so good. I've tried it and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It tastes like a tender piece of meat to me.
Absolutely.
See, look at the color on it.
And that is the way tuna is intended.
Right. And again, you're walking around with the full flavors of the tuna, paying respect to the product, and enjoying it.
You get the smoky.
Okay.
So you squeeze the lime on it?
And squeeze the lime on it.
Lime on that one with the lime
This is
zest,
the one with
and the fresh thyme.
And then grab your chopsticks.
I mean, in the summer, you could put it on top of greens for a salad. Last night, we had brown rice and edamame.
Chopstick.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael cut it again.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's some pieces.
I have a big mouth, but.
There you go.
Mike, can you cut this piece right here?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got Bob's name on it.
Oh, my name on it.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's
baby.
lunch?
I gotta have the thyme and lime one. Oh, that's
Very
really good.
All right. So that's our walk through tuna.
Oh, my God.
I know.
It is a fabulous fish.
There we go.
The lime is just.
Isn't that yummy with the
People, don't be afraid
with the
of
zest.
rare tuna, because I tell you, it is just awesome.
It's very good eating. So,
Very good.
there's our world of tuna. Hopefully you
But
enjoy
I'm still tasting little differences in my mouth, so it's continuing to leave a really nice finish, I guess you would say.
Finish?
Mike?
Oh.
Not Nova Scotia, but
Right, finish.
not Swedish.
We're cutting her off.
That's right. Uh-oh. No, I was thinking
Nova Scotia.
finish. Where's the one?
Okay,
Very good.
Mike, can you tell me a bit about ahi?
Good point, Bob.
Because the thing about it is, I hear of ahi in restaurants. I see it in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I love it to death. Why is that different from tuna?
no.
And where am I going to see it? And is there different types of ahi?
Okay, ahi is not, remember the Hawaiian vocabulary only has 18 letters. Ahi is nothing but a name for the combination of Bigeye Tuna and Yellowfin Tuna. So ahi can mean one or the other.
Oh.
Okay, so I will often talk to somebody and they'll say, I have some beautiful Yellowfin Tuna. Oh, I want ahi. Well, it's the same. Okay, it's nomenclature.
How do you know which one you're getting then when you order ahi?
Well, you specify. In Hawaiian, they have ahi's the name, but I don't know the actual Hawaiian name for bigeye because it's like a subcategory.
Okay.
So you would say ahi ukulu, you know, whatever.
Just say some vowels.
Right, say some vowels, put them together. That's how it works. And now, as far as ono, we talked about this earlier. How is tuna like an ono? Well, ono's a mackerel. It's actually a
Same family, baby. I know that.
It's not a tuna.
It's not a tuna, but it's in the same family.
What about bonito?
You are good. You are good. Lower class, subclass tunas. Bonita, skipjack, bonito, skipjack, and small eye, and blackfin tuna. These are other tunas, but you won't really see them much in the market. Really, bonito is because they have that dark bloodline, almost goes halfway into the meat. I mean, it has a lot more blood, more bloodline to it, which can be bitter. So that's why you don't really see a lot of it. It'll be canned for the most part to neutralize the bitterness of the blood.
That's the catfish one.
That's the catfish. And it should stay that way, not the blue one.
No.
So.
That's terrific.
All right.
Good.
Well,
Very good.
Should we say best fishes?
Best
There
fishes.
we go.
Thank you.
And let's finish this up toot sweet.
There we go. That's right.
Thanks for that. This is heaven. I'm taking this big, beautiful piece.
There you go, as you should.
There you go. I'll cut these off.
Cut those up with that, yeah.